here we have the second Howard Bullfinch. Let's see what we can do with this one. This is going to be quite a contrast to the Grandpa Joe project. So this bullfinch came from my Uncle Clive. He'd had it for a little while, used it many years ago to tear up the backyard a little bit and mix cement powder into the dirt of his backyard to stabilise and level the base to put in a swimming pool. This one's had some modifications. So this handle, I'd say at some stage in its life the original pull handle that I have on the other one would normally come through this hole and pull up to pull the motor up into place. This has been retrofitted with a different kind of handle. The pivot pin down here was cut, so Uncle Clive brought this over in pieces the same way I transported the other one back from my dad's house, but everything was just so rusted that he cut the end of the pin to pull the pin out. Yeah, it's been sitting outside in long grass and stuff, so as you can see I've got a bit of cleaning to do. This is a Clinton engine that's on this one. So the three engines on these Australian produced Howards were the Briggs & Stratton that I have on Grandpa Joe, a Clinton engine and a Honda engine. So this should be about 3.5 horsepower. Hopefully it's savable. We're just going to take this motor off now and get it up on the bench. The plan with this, as I said, quite a contrast. I'm going to leave this on and just patina finish it. So clean it all off, probably spray it down with some oil or some kind of a coating to stop the rust getting any worse. And then it'll be quite neat to have this one sitting next to the pretty much brand new one. So there we go. Let's get this on the bench, get the motor off it, get the motor up on the bench and start cleaning. So engine's off on the bench, battery on the camera's going dead. That's okay. First couple of little things I'm going to do: pull the carb off, probably check for spark, get the spark plug out, and take it off this this bottom mount here, just so I can work on it a bit easier, and then work on getting the shroud off. I want to verify spark first, and that carburetor definitely needs some attention. It's frozen and jammed up. I've got in quite deep into this. I spun it over with the drill and couldn't get any spark out of it, so spark plug's out. Got the flywheel off and carburetor off. Little bits and pieces all over the bench. Just a quick update there. Really filthy inside. You can see all the crud and the muck that's come out of this thing. So yeah, just going through cleaning. I've had to retap one of the holes. I've had to grind a bolt off to get the shroud off, but we've retapped the thread so we can replace that with a screw. They were all flathead screws, so this is my next little mission, this one here. I had one break off in here, so they'll just drill out and retap. And under here for the fuel tank bracket, there's another screw in there that's been really stubborn. So if these break off, we'll have to get ground off, drilled out, tapped out, so be it. But I'm just going to move on to cleaning all of this stuff up. Quite an interesting setup here. The points obviously on the inside of the flywheel, like we've had before. But this has the entire magneto armature and everything is on the inside, so that's what we're looking at in there on the shaft, and this is the inside of the flywheel, so those magnets are screwed on and on the inside of the flywheel. So that's quite interesting. Never encountered this before. So going to give it all a good clean up, throw the flywheel back on, spin it with a drill and see if it'll spark, and then I know if I should bother carrying on with the carburetor. Cool. So it certainly took a bit of convincing. I've had to play around with a few things. Had all the flywheel off, looked at the inside of the magneto system there, cleaned all of that up, cleaned the points, found that the point screw was loose and the points gap was, well, there wasn't a gap. Gave the points a clean, had to replace the screw. The screw on the end, I don't know how well that focuses, is actually stripped, so the points weren't locking into place and holding the adjustment. So got them opening and closing. Had a weak spark, so I took it all apart again and set the points gap a little bit smaller, and now hopefully you can see into that spark plug. I'll zoom in, but I'll give it a spin, and we've got a spark. I'll zoom you in a bit closer. I really don't know if that's focusing or not, but so I'll give it another spin, and it's not a huge spark, but it's a spark. I did go down to the local chainsaw shop and got a new spark plug. Best they could give me was this tiny little thing, CJ14, and this is a J14J. Does the same job. I mean, it still fits in, the thread's the same, but you have to have that original spark plug from 1950 whatever, maybe it's the original, I don't know, and have the engine sparking. So far so good. Onto the carburetor now. Spark, fuel, air. Carburetor next, get that cleaned out, and then I'll probably take the head off and do the valves just to check that the air flows in and out, and get the valves cleaned up. Cool. So I spent probably a bit too much time with this carburetor. I was hoping it was going to be savable. Bit the bullet, decided to put this one aside and just order a brand new one. So I've got that ordered that last night online. I've got it coming. It'll be a couple of weeks away, unfortunately. I thought I would be able to get this freed up, but it's just far too frozen. I've taken the little choke plate off the inside. Can't even move the lever there. I've tried all sorts of different penetrants and lubricants and things to free up the rust. The throttle itself is locked up. When I tried taking the float off, at some stage someone's been in here before me, the gasket and O-ring completely missing, and the little pivot for the float had some kind of a plastic toothpick or something jammed through there, and it wasn't even moving freely. And when I tried to get that out, unfortunately a little piece broke from the pivot where the pin goes into this side, so that broke away. Pulled the needle and seat out just for fun, and yeah, that's about as far as I got with that. I was going to try and soak it and try and free it all up, but I figured with that bit broken, not being able to put the pin back in, missing the pin altogether anyway, and buying a new gasket set was going to cost me about 20 or 30 bucks. Got the whole new carburetor for 50, so that's where we're at. A couple of other little things that I can carry on with on the machine while I wait for that to turn up, so we'll do those. So I just finished all the little basic things that I needed to do on this engine until the carburetor turns up. When the carburetor turns up, I will make a new gasket, or two gaskets, sorry I should say, for the little manifold there. So what did I do? I replaced the governor spring, got the throttle cable freed up and working, so there's a linkage onto there. I'll need to make the linkage from this little governor bracket type thing. I'm not really sure how this works. I've seen them before off the governor, but then normally there's a spring straight to the card. This has got the spring and another linkage, so that'll take a bit of playing with. Got that sorted. Made a new gasket for the valve chest. I went and got a new lead, so I ended up buying an automotive car HT lead, taking the rubber boot off the end and the other end as well, putting that in there. That's really helped, as the spark is a lot stronger than it was with the new lead on there. What did I do? Found a new bolt for the fuel tank bracket. that only had one. There was a bolt missing from under here, so I've put that in. Had the fuel filter apart, cleaned all of that out, replaced the gasket in the top of that. So there was a little cork ring between the glass and the housing. Yeah, I didn't have cork, but I did have standard gasket paper laying around somewhere. So it's just a rather thick leathery cardboard type stuff. So 2 layers of that in there to replace that, and that's all. I've blown air through it from the other end. All of the little nuts and bolts that I've used, or most of them where I have had to replace them, they're bright and shiny and silver. I'm not trying to hide what I've done. I actually want them to stand out so we can see they've been repaired. So yeah, next thing is just to move on to the machine side of things. What have I got to do on that? Basically just the pivot pin for the motor where it hinges up and down the motor plate, and drill a couple of holes and put some R-clips in. I'm going to use R-clips instead of split pins for the levers. Makes them easier to pull an R-clip out and take those levers to dismantle it and take the handlebars off. So that's what we'll do next, and then yeah, just chuck the motor back in the machine, wait for the carburetor to turn up. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about a pull start. I can buy a pull start mechanism for this, sort of a generic off eBay Chinese copy type situation that I can put on there, or I can just leave it, and because I thought initially that this was a rope starter, but it's not. It's got some grooves, but on the other side there was some springs and stuff in there, so I got them out, cleaned it all up. I think that's a piece of spring there that fell out. So it has had a pull starter at some stage, which is gone. Stripped a couple of nuts and bolts, thread holes here and there. So the cylinder head, I didn't take the head off. I broke part of the head just with trying to extract one bolt out of here. So I haven't even touched the head bolts. I'm not going to. I don't want to destroy or break it. I mean, yeah, the compression's pretty low, but it still has got some compression. When I had the valve chest off, I could see both valves going up and down. So if I can just get it to run as it is with that new carb on it and leave it at that, I'll be happy as. The oil in it's really clean. Take the dipper out of here. It's had really clean, nice yellow oil in it. So yeah, that's beautiful. So that's a sign that, you know, even though it's been sitting out in weather, it hasn't had water down the bore or water inside the case or the cylinder. So alright, that's that. Going to cut a piece of steel rod, drill a couple of holes, and get those little bits on the machine over there taken care of, and then that'll be that. Oh, one thing that was missing from it is a brass plug for in the top of the gearbox, so I bought one of those to put in. There's a wine bottle cork shoved in there at the moment, so let's carry on. This is the motor plate. Now it's into here. This is the original bolt that had to be cut to get it off. Would normally thread through. It's threaded in this end, so it would thread in, and then it has nuts that go on either side, but that hole there is fine. So I've got a piece of M8 threaded rod which I can slide through. I could tap that down. I don't think that M8 is going to wind in there. I can try. It just felt like it did start to thread on. I'm expecting it's not going to be a metric thread, but I can put 2 nuts on that. I was thinking I was going to have to drill that out, but to drill it out I have to take a wheel off, and these wheels are quite hard to get off. I had trouble with the first Grandpa Joe version. What I'm going to do is just chuck another nut on the end of that, see if I can't lock the nuts up and wind it in, and just see what I can do with that thread. It may be a metric thread, but let's have a go. Well, that's actually found its way through there. What I'll just back it back out and put the plate in, and I'll just wind that in and leave it there, to be honest. It's going to do the job it's supposed to. Well, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's it works. It pivots how it's supposed to. It's going to hold the motor. This should run up and down on here, which it's supposed to do. So I just have to drill some holes in the ends of 2 of these rods. I'm not sure if you can see this one back here. So on the back of this gearbox, where the linkage runs through to engage and disengage the drive, that just needs a pin through it, and the one over here for pulling up, the lever that pulls up to tension the belt and the motor. So yeah, I'll drill a couple of holes in those, chuck some washers and some R-clips on them, and I've still got this this cork to take care of, so I'll chuck the little plug in there as well. Well, believe it or not, I've actually got to put a decent amount of thought into where I put this R-clip in this one. Normally it'd just be split pinned, but I've got R-clips that I'm going to use to make it easy to take these on and off. That's the right way around for that. I have to drill a hole through here, but I'm debating this way or this way, so I'm just going to clip it over the shaft for now without actually drilling the hole through and see what happens. So once that's actually through there, I'm just curious to know when it rotates over to drop into gear, is the pin going to interfere, or is it going to catch on that nut and stop the full rotation of this from locking into gear and making it drive? I hope not. What I'm going to do is just drill a hole, chuck it through. If it doesn't work out, and it doesn't work out and I can't use R-clips, I'll just throw split pins through from the other way around and bend them over. Just be a nuisance if I do have to take them apart. So while we're down here, this is the fill point for the top of the gearbox. So they don't have a level mark on the side, which is a nuisance, so I don't know what kind of oil, or if there's oil in this one. She's a long skewer down there and just see if it comes up with anything. Yeah, so there's some oil in it. I'll give it a top up at some stage. This is just a standard brass plumbing plug, so replace the cork with a proper brass plug. I've got the other machine sitting next to me, and I'll just pull the plug out of that one with the other hand. So that's the plug that's in the Grandpa Joe, and this is the other one, same thread. I've added a rubber plumbing washer to the bottom of that just to give it a bit of extra beef and seal. So once I put some more oil in there, I'll just give that a little snug down a bit tighter. Okay, so I'm just going to drill this hole through here and throw that pin through and see what it does. So I'm quite happy with that one down there and how it works. Machine needs to roll slightly forward or backwards just to get the dogs to line up in the wheels, but it was working just before, and then I turn it around and now it won't work. There we go. So it's all just about getting it lined up just right for those wheels to work. Just got to drill a hole through here to put our pin in. It won't ordinarily sit all the way down there. It should sit at a relaxed stage, sit probably about there somewhere. So you need a hole drilled through there, and one at the top as well, up on this this makeshift other handle that's up here. So let's here drill those. Put a pin in down here. I'm going to split pin the top. The top will never come out. It'll stay with the handlebars. This one down here, I want to be able to lift it pull the R clip out, move this out of the way, and then the handlebars will come away with this attached, as long as the motor doesn't get on the way on the inside there. So we'll see how we go, cross that bridge when we come to it, I suppose. All good, drill some holes, put some pins in. So now that those two jobs are done, well, those three jobs are done on this side of the machine, there's honestly nothing else I can do until the carburetor turns up. So I might throw the motor back on, bolt it down. I bought some new bolts to hold that in place. It's got a broken tine on the rotavator end down here. I'm not going to worry too much about that if I can find some blades to replace them at some stage. And the clamp in here is rusted away, but with those pushed in and done up tight, that's not going anywhere. I've wound these bolts down tight either side of that hasp, so the machine's not going to come apart. Yeah, so I'll set the motor back on here, and then it could be a couple of weeks before that carburetor turns up, and then I'll get to finishing filming the rest of this. So start of July now, I think it's about the 6th or something. Start of June, about the 6th of June or something like that. So yeah, that carburetor could be a couple of weeks in the mail from China. So yeah, let's just throw the motor on, chuck some bolts in it, and put this aside, and we'll come back to it in a couple of weeks. But you won't notice that because the video will just edit and the motor will be on. So here we are. Yeah, those 2 weeks have passed, just about. It's the 18th of June today. Yeah, 12 days, I guess, since that last little bit that I filmed. Made a bit of progress. So the carburetor's turned up, and a pull start assembly that I ordered come from China. Postman gave me a bit of a hard time about ordering parts from China, but chances are if I'd bought them here in New Zealand, they would have turned up with a made in China sticker anyway, so I just saved myself some money, really. Carburetor, and I made my own little air filter assembly for this out of an old hair wax tin, and I had a little air compressor air filter, so the front part of the filter for the carb was missing altogether off this, so I just siliconed this into here and put the lid on that side. I'll spin this around in a second and show you. Let's put this back in. It's a bit tricky getting the threads lined up. It's not perfect, but what I'm going for with this is just a running machine, not a pretty machine. Hopefully it'll stay put. Might zoom you in a bit. So this is a carburetor, yeah, almost an identical copy to the original. Having a little bit of trouble with fueling. I don't know if the jet's in these ones, it's a cheap copy. The linkage on the top was not quite right. It was missing the third arm that came out, or the second arm, sorry, that came out and linked to the governor. So I made my own little stainless steel bracket to match the old one. I've bolted it through the new carburetor. Had to make a link to work between the governor lever and the carb lever, so I've made that up. I've still got to work out how I'm just going to clip those in place to stop them from coming out when it vibrates. So that drops into there. Had to reattach the throttle cable, so I got a new piece from the push bike shop for that. New spring down here for the governor, so now when it pulls, this pulls back. Hopefully the spring tension's enough to overcome what the governor's trying to do to pull it back to idle, and it'll pull the revs up. Like I said, I've had it running. I've been starting it with the drill, and it's been working okay. Like running okay. Runs a bit rough. Runs a bit probably rich, I think. But we'll play with the carb a little bit more in the future. But main goal is just to get it running. So yeah, down on the front here, I've got this little wheel. I bought again, it's a Chinese clone part. This is a pull start assembly from a GX, like generators, Honda generators, that sort of stuff. Replacement recoil pull starter. Trying to find anything that would have originally gone back into the original pulley was just impossible. So it was a really weird setup, the old one. So yeah, I've got this. Downside is I've changed the nut for the flywheel. Had to go shorter to be able to fit this cone or this cup on. with this in place, it sits quite a way off that blower housing. So my little mission now is to take the blower housing off, and I'm going to use some bolts and space it out. It's got 6 bolts, which is quite good attachment. So if I use the 6 bolts as studs coming up, nuts and bolts either side, space this off, it'll be a bit weird, but a bit Mad Max, but it'll work, it'll do the job. Hopefully I'll be able to start it rather than using the socket and the drill. So going to get this done, and then I'll fire it up, give it a little bit of a drive around. It works. I've ploughed up some of the front lawn, pulled a tree stump out, and I'd till it up the ground up there just to give that grass a little bit of a better chance to grow. So it does work. It has been working, running around the yard. So right, get this pull starter on, then we can hopefully throw some gas in and try pull starting it properly. Cool. So here we are, back with well, pretty much where we started, in the same place, but hopefully with a running machine now. So quick run through of what I did. Got everything back together, did the linkages and the pins, put some oil in the gearbox, put a plug in there, Chinese carburetor and pull start assembly, homemade air filter, redid our throttle connections, springs and all that sort of stuff for the governor. So I've just put some fuel in it. I'll turn the fuel tap on and I'll see how many pulls it takes to make it start. Try with the choke, just, you know, she's dead cold. The exhaust I can still hold onto it, so it hasn't been running this morning. So spark plug, oh, new spark plug lead, that was all done as well. So let's see what happens there. Wow, that was promising. That was with the choke, so I'll try it without the choke then and see what it does. I was not expecting that, one pull straight to life, so I'll back it up just a little bit by the shed door over to the other side there. I'll start it again, and I'll just engage those levers, pull the belt up tight. You can see the tine spinning. The belt, I'll move you around here, why not? So the belt is still the belt that came on it, and I don't think it's actually the right belt. It seems to sit funny in those V's, and it actually grabs on the sides. It should be sliding in there, but it's grabbing even with it just, you know, at idle. It's supposed to tension when I pull this lever, and that's supposed to engage it like a clutch, but it just seems to grab friction anyway and want to turn. So anyhow, I'll start it again and just drive it up the drive there, across this little bit of concrete. I'll move you back so you can see everything, I suppose. If I lift that up to there, you'll be able to see me pulling the levers. So we'll just pull it back, start it. Again, that shocked me with a dead start, dead cold start. For it just to fire on one pull like that, so go a little bit further forward. Alright, there we go. Okay, I'll start it. The throttle linkage still needs a little bit of playing with so far as getting it from idle to higher revs, but anyways. yeah, I'm quite impressed with just being able to get this thing going. It's taken, what did I say, 12 days, maybe 14 days altogether. Had those couple of days early on, or 3 or 4 days early on, so yeah, a couple of weeks, if not a bit more. So yeah, what more can I do? What more can I say? This is pretty much how I want this machine left finished. I'll probably just get rid of some of the dirt and stuff because I drove it through the garden, like I said, and till it up the lawn a bit. But I want this one to be as is, parked right next to the orange one when I get the stuff back and get that put back together. So I'll have, you know, this contrast of what it was to what it could be, with the full restoration done on the Grandpa Joe one. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. As I said, I've got to play with this carburetor a bit more. I think it's over fueling. I really think it's running too rich. I'm not really sure. It's quite sooty and black. I'll pull the plug out and check that. That sort of gives a good read to know if it's running lean or rich. And if you want to leave some comments, that'd be awesome. Just yeah, any advice you got on what I should do going forward, if you think this should be fully restored like the other one, or you think leaving this with its natural sort of history story going with it. So one tine to replace, broken on there. We'll get to that one day. But otherwise, yeah, she runs, she goes. I'm really, really wrapped. So thanks very much for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Cheers.